Hi everyone, it's the evening after another beautiful day. I'm back in the allotment here, and apparently the weather's going to change. It's about 23, 24 degrees today, lovely sunshine, but the clouding over now. Temperatures drop probably about 7 or 8 degrees, and apparently it's going to go down to about 9 degrees by 6, 7 o'clock in the morning with a 35-mile-an-hour north wind. So I'm here today, and I'm going to wrap up my beans with some bubble wrap just to protect it from the wind. It's not so much the temperature, but it's the wind that will actually burn the leaves and stunt them a little bit. So hopefully by me wrapping them up in the bubble wrap, it's going to save my crop for later on. So that's my job this evening, along with watering, of course. Bringing gallons of water across here every night now just to keep everything going. We did have a week of rain, but that sort of disappeared, and the sun came out again, so it's back to watering. So I'll show you what I'm going to do, and I'll show you the finished article. So here's the bubble wrap. I got a roll, and I got some old bubble wrap saved from some packaging somewhere. And there are the beans, as you can see. They're doing well at the moment, growing nicely, and I just don't want the weather to knock them on the head, so do a bit of protection. Okay, so there's my beans wrapped up, watered, wrapped up. Hopefully that'll save them from the wind the next couple of days. They're warms up again. Peas are growing nicely now, going up through the fence in there. And here's another plant that I've got disappearing amongst the straw raspberries there. Is our loganberry, and that's doing very nicely as well. Okay, job for today then. I'm still waiting for my plants and onion sets and whatever to arrive by post. So I'm going to clear out the right hand bay here and transfer all the compost from the left into the right to give it a bit of an airing. So that's the job for today. Okay, as you can see, I've dug it all out now, and I had to dig down about 5-6 inches to try and get all the nettle roots out. They were everywhere, they haven't been dug out for a while. And as you can see, I'll have to replace the pallets next year. I'm not going to do it now because, funny enough, I can't get out to get any more, so I'll have to do for this year. And now my job is to move this lot across into there, give it an airing and help the compost. Okay, here we are. I'm going to move all this across. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Apparently it helps boost the channel. I'm not sure how, but it does. How'd you like my pikel? It's not like Trigger's broom. This has never had a new top and it hasn't had a new handle, but I remember my father using this back in the 1960s when he used to cut the lawns with a scythe and a hook. I still got the hooks, I haven't got the scythe, but this pikel's probably about, I don't know, 8 years old, so it still works. So as we go in this then, we'll have a little tale from the allotment. After about 3 or 4 years in the job, probably 4 years, I got a job as a police motorcyclist. Back in the day it was a Norton Commander that I used to ride then, and we also set up at the same time a drug squad. And one of the drugs officers one day used to drive around in unmarked cars, and he wanted me to help him stop vehicles up around Allotment. I won't mention any names or anything like that in these stories because most of the people are still alive now. They'll recognise the story if they watch the video. But anyway, one wet, rainy day, I went up to the Allotment on a marked bike, and he came up in his unmarked car, and he'd sit on the road and he'd radio through his show him stop so and so. So one day he asked me to stop this one car, and there were 5 people in there, and I stopped it next to what used to be the Midland Bank in Allotment. Walked up to the driver, and as I got to the driver's door, the driver opened the door, jumped out and ran. And he ran down this little alleyway, so I went lumbering after him. And I say lumbering because I'd weighed myself, wearing all my bike kit and with the leathers, the waterproof helmet, gloves and everything. I weighed 21 stone, so I wasn't the quickest out of the blocks. But anyway, I chased down this alleyway after him. And after about 50-60 yards, which was more than enough for me running, he turned round and took up this stance as if he was going to punch me. And in that sort of a split second of chasing after him, I decided I wasn't even going to bother stopping. I was going to hit him. And he was only about 5'8", 5'9", and probably weighed about 12 stone soaking wet. And I hit him flat out. Well, flat out to me is not that fast, but when you got 21 stone behind you at the time, it's pretty quick. And I hit him. Didn't punch him or anything, I just ran straight into him, and he went down and I landed on top of him. And for some unknown reason, it took the wind out of him, and it wasn't any issue then me picking him up. So I stood up. By now I was puffing and panting because the adrenaline was whizzing through the body, and I was a bit of shaking a little bit. So I picked him up by the scruff of the neck, and I started walking back up, and I was panting. And I looked up, and his four mates were coming down the alleyway towards me, and I thought, you've got to be aggressive here, otherwise it's 5 against 1, you know. So yeah, I walked up to him. I told them quite politely to get out the fucking way, but you know, they weren't going to stop me doing what I needed to do. And for some reason it just parted, the waters parted, and they moved aside and I walked through. I'm not quite sure what I'd have done had they not parted, but hey, they did anyway. So yeah, 21 stone against a 12 stone doesn't work when you're running flat out. But yeah, another little story from the allotment. Okay, so that's a job I've been looking at doing for a few days now, and it's been done now. That'll start sinking down in the next couple of days, and I'll just tidy it up then, and on the way to making some good compost for next year.